Hello students, as I told you, I am going through all of your folders and I am making a list, a written list of the equipment that you said you have access to, whether it's some or none, and then I'm trying to align what equipment you have with some kind of program that's going to take some of the exercises that you had been doing and just a slight restructuring. And yes, you're going to have to change your training objective. It's not a bad thing, but for those of you who don't have any equipment, obviously you can't have an objective of muscular power when maybe you only have a couple of 25-pound dumbbells. But that doesn't mean you can't do some of the great basic compound lifts that will be extremely successful in helping you build strength, mobility, and basic physical working function. All right, so we're going to be aligning that principle with our training a lot, which is something that I promote. So you'll still be receiving the basic information regarding exercise science. We'll be making some slight shifts in terms of how you approach that in your training. And then when all of this is passed and put behind you, you can start going back to your gym, or maybe you decide to invest in some equipment to have at your home. You can still use that information but apply it to a different training objective. But for the most part, many of you are going to be focusing on muscular endurance. Remember, that's high repetition and low weight. But what I want to do today, because we don't want to waste any time, and I know you guys are making some really good gains, I know you're enthusiastic about maintaining your training momentum, I just want to go over, let's see, I'm going to show you 3 exercises. I'm going to review 3 exercises that you can start doing immediately until I'm able to contact each one of you and have a discussion about how you're going to move forward, okay? And I will give you each a video, so I'll write up the suggested plan. There will be an accompanying video of me going through each exercise and things you want to pay attention to, but that doesn't mean that's the final, right? That's you can alter that, and that's what our discussions or our communication will revolve around. Changes that you might want to make, maybe you love it off the bat, or you want to make some changes, or you have some questions. So let's keep the conversation going. For those of you who, have a full stash of equipment and you're pretty much going to carry on what you had been doing, great, keep doing it. And if you've already gone ahead and made yourself a plan, please send that off to me. Because remember that we still have to maintain academic integrity for you to be able to get that awesome credit that you have already paid for. So the more continuity we have from the in-class experience, the easier this transition is going to be and the more successful it's going to be. So, I can ramble on for days. What I'm going to show you first is the deadlift. And I know automatically that was everyone's favorite exercise. And there's a reason for that. It is one of the most overall productive exercises that you can do. And it actually mimics, some very, it has a lot of fundamental and practical purpose, all right? So the deadlift is a compound exercise, okay? It involves muscles from the movement in the joints, so a lot of muscle from the lower body, as well as stabilizing and movement in the upper body, all right? So you can do this with your little dumbbell. So I'll show you, for example, you can take your little 10-pound dumbbells, even if you don't have weight, all right? Your starting position is going to be feet just about shoulder width apart. Your chest is tall. From the side, it looks like this. You're going to let the weights hang naturally at your side. So grab the dumbbell handles if that's what you have, or maybe you have water jugs or something else that you have improvised with. Arms are going to hang naturally to the side. Remember, you don't want that weight pulling your shoulder down. So you do want to engage the traps just a little bit to keep the shoulders stable. You're going to start from that strong standing posture. Now, it's important to remember that your hips and your knees are going to move simultaneously throughout the exercise, because once one locks and there becomes movement at one joint, your balance is going to be off. Your balance in the movement or the productivity. So it's important to know that as I bend my knees, my hips drive back. So the hip joint is closing, the angle is flexing, the angle is closing of the joint, as well as the knee, right? So I'm here 180 degrees, and then I'm starting to close both the knee and the hip joint. I'm going to continue to drop down. You're going to maintain this shoulder over knee, just about behind the toe or in line with the toe, as you descend towards the ground. See how both the knee and the hip continue to move? So if I could get myself down to upper portion of the leg parallel with the deck, that would be awesome. All right, shoulders still over knee, knee is behind toe, correct? Back is still perfectly straight. Spinal alignment, so that means the neck. I discourage you from looking up or looking down. Just keep that nice straight spine or back position, straight back position, the natural curve of the spine, and then come back up to the top. Driving through the legs. Bring it down, shoulder over knee, behind toe, and back up to the top. And you know how I am about posture. You know how I want you to get back to that strong, straight standing position. You can say with a little attitude or confidence or just efficiency. It's the most efficient way that you can stand for you to carry your body and your person. We call that your plumb line. And though it's not a straight, rigid line, if I drew a line down the side of my body, right, the spine kind of S's on either side of that. So you want to really be able to maintain that strong position. Okay, now I'm just going to a little bit heavier weight. And maybe you'll see how that looks. Bring it down. Same thing, knee behind toe, shoulder over knee, and drive back up to the top. Look at that nice tall chest position. I'm going to have to either start wearing lighter clothes or come up with a backdrop so you can see a little bit more clearly. But again, the most important thing is the straight back position. The second most important thing is keeping yourself planted through the bottom of your foot at all times. And what happens often is, as you come down, I see many of you do a couple of things. One is the heels maybe come in, okay? Or the heels come off the ground. No, the bottom of your foot is firmly planted on the ground at all times. So I want you to look at that as I demonstrate one last time with a bar, okay? I have several bars already set up, okay? This is a standard grip with both palms facing back or behind. This is a mixed grip with one palm forward and one palm back. I prefer that mixed grip. And so in this case, same thing. Feet are about shoulder width apart. You can go a little bit wider, but the hands are just outside of the quads. Chest is nice and tall. Once again, let the weight hang naturally. Drive the hips back as you bend the knee, getting closer and closer to the ground, and then bring it right back up with those feet firmly planted squarely on the ground at all times. Please get to know the deadlift. It is a very, very, very productive and useful exercise. It is a fundamental. And again, you don't want to use heavy weights. You know, I happen to be a proponent of using heavy weights, at least for some part of your training cycle. But you can do it with these 10-pound dumbbells. It is definitely going to help with joint mobility. Overall body mobility is super important. Okay, it's a compound exercise, multiple joints, right? A lot of joints are moving outside of their starting position, so very productive. Now,